Hey, good morning.
Hey, good
Good
morning.
morning, Gilles.
Morning.
Morning, guys. Tarek, I haven't seen you in a bit. Welcome back.
Yeah, I was on a vacation, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Went home. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to our next one. We're just in the process of wondering what to do this coming summer. So, yeah, we did a lot of big travels last year, so it won't be anything too big, I don't think, but love traveling.
I was thinking about it, also planning for the summer. Maybe I was thinking about Europe, something like Cyprus or Greece, something in the Mediterranean that have this Mediterranean vibe to it. But that's a long flight from your place, Gilles.
Actually, that's where that's one of the places that's on the short list is the Greek islands. Yeah, from North America, you know what? You have to fly overseas to have anything, to have a good destination. So, I mean, overseas, London, I think is a 6 or 7 hour flight, so not too bad. But yeah, we might end up just going to the States and Florida or something like that. But yeah, not sure yet. Or maybe we'll go to San Diego and visit Evo. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I want to get started with my outlook, what it is that I do on Mondays. Usually I zoom out, and I do it before I start sharing on here. Zoom out on the daily higher time frame, and I figured I'd do that with you guys today. So let's just look at what we've got over here. Things to know before the open. Like I've always said, I like looking at the Investopedia. Basically, they just give a broad image of what's going on. Stock futures are pointing higher after 5 weeks of losses. That's obviously from 6 p.m. Sunday night up until this morning. Who knows? Monday morning. What's going to happen. I always take my time, especially on Mondays. Oil near 4-year high as Trump considers ground operations for oil. So this is a moving target. Pardon the pun, there's a lot of stuff going on in the Strait of Hormuz with Iran and everything in the Middle East. So oil, I've been looking at the futures, and they're all over the place. So Trump weighs taking uranium from Iran. I don't know how that affects anything in the market. What investors should walk for this week? Not a lot of earnings. Nike is always one of the late reporters, and I think they're Tuesday, so the last day of March is Nike, and then we'll start looking at earnings again in a week or two when we start a new quarter. So Eli Lilly signs a deal with, I don't know if any of you guys have traded LLY. It's been incredible for the last couple years. So also an interesting stock to watch. As far as the economic calendar, there doesn't seem to be too much going on today. But like this was saying, sorry, right over here, I didn't read all of it. But we're expecting some numbers later on this week. Not quite sure exactly where I saw it, but not much happening today. I want to go back to, we were talking about CLL on Friday. I wanted to go back and look at the KT short that would have been possible. And I wanted to recap I took 2 trades on AMD, the break and retest short. I was a little bit early on my first one. And was down 1R, and then the second one hit target at 3R, maybe 2 minutes after I logged off on Friday. So I'll bring that up a little bit later on. Bringing up my trading view. Higher time. Whoops. Higher time frame. This is my daily time frame. I like putting a large rectangle where there could be liquidity, where there could be a bit of a target. I also like looking at, let me just get rid of whatever drawing this is here because we don't need it. There we go. I like looking at a higher time frame bias, not necessarily because I'm only looking at shorts, but if you look at the higher time frame from the beginning of February, we have been on, we've been selling, right? We've been going down in Apple. I'll do the higher time frame for all of them, just basically just to show where I put my my rectangles. This has a lot of drawings, but it's because I want to share my trade from Friday, so that's on there as well. As far as higher time frame rectangle, this is what I've got here. We touched this area over here. AMD's been very, very choppy. When you look at the dailies, it's just basically been chopping sideways. It is lower from the all-time highs. We put in a big double top over here and then started selling. But from where it is right now, it's basically choppy. So as far as bias is concerned, I don't really have one with AMD. Amazon, are we on the daily? Yes. I've drawn a higher liquidity area over here. Big red candle or today, actually, we've dropped down over here. If we come and take this liquidity over here, it could be a reversal signal. Or if it breaks down below this area, then there's targets, all the way down here. So that's how I look at it broadly on Monday mornings. Maybe I won't look at every one of them because they all look very similar. There is liquidity below where price is. Google is in an area of former liquidity. And by former liquidity, I mean that a lot of buyers stepped in at this point over here. We put in a one-day or a daily fair value gap over here where we popped up and then we retraced and then moved up from there. We are coming back down here. So when I say liquidity, is that the long-term traders possibly have a lot of stops in this area over here. So it could mean that we come and fish these stops away for the next move up, or we'll take this liquidity and possibly retest for the move lower to this gold or yellow line over here. So let's go on to the 30-minute time frame, which is what I usually look at, and that's where my Camarilla levels are indicated. We are in a lower range over the last 2 days. That's what that means, right? This was lower than this. Basic Camarilla rules say that we could be selling R3 down to S3, which would make sense this morning. So for me, what I'm looking at is, can we pop up and put a rejection candle up here for the move lower? First target would be CP because it would be the low of aftermarket on Friday. But then the further target would be in this zone that we've marked out before. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm looking at Apple taking out liquidity up here. And even if it doesn't take out liquidity, I've noticed that I was going through my trades yesterday from last week, and I've taken, especially over the last few weeks since I've been live, I've taken much less trades, if that makes any sense. And I'm thinking about getting back into what I usually do. And I think it has a lot to do with the psychology of sharing, being on the spot and recording these sessions and putting them on YouTube. I think the psychology of being afraid of being wrong and showing that it's possible to be wrong. But at the end of the day, an edge means that there's a likely possibility, more than 50.1%, that it goes in your favor. And the way that I trade, especially with equities, I have fixed risk. -1R is my maximum risk, and I aim for 3R or more. That being said, if this puts in a KT, I'm not going to bring my rules of the first 5-minute candle, but if the KT looks good, but it's not red, let's say, I possibly will get in. So expect me to get into a few more trades than I have been in the last couple weeks. Okay, AMD, like I said, AMD is incredibly choppy. It's hard to tell what we're going to do over here. As far as where price is concerned, let's go back to the 30-minute and zoom in over here. As far as where price is concerned, we are in the lower range, but we've broken up above the highs of the previous day. So that means that we are basically going against trend, and we are opening up above R4. The trade book or the Camarilla rule for this is that there's possibly buying happening at R4. So if we were to put in another kangaroo tail, another wick going down to, let's say, the 203 area, and we start seeing a lot of buying, I'd like to see a wick down there and then possibly print up above R4. And that for me would be a long, and I'd be aiming for R6. Amazon, let's go to the 30-minute. Amazon also in a lower range, and you don't need these things. You just look at where we were on Friday as compared to Thursday. It's lower, therefore we are in a lower range. So there are a certain amount of rules that come with a Camarilla system. Basically means that we could likely be continuing, right? So if we were going down, we might be going down again. Therefore, we could be looking at the possibility of shorting R3 to S3. And considering that there's a lot of, or possibly a lot of liquidity down in this range over here, that could be a plan for Amazon. Again, for me, the reverse, not the reverse of one, but if it's going up over here, right, it has been going up this morning, it would be a reversal. But my only entry to short over here on this reversal would be a double top or a kangaroo tail rejection of this level over here. So that's what I'll be looking at on Amazon. What time is it? 9:27. Okay, we got a couple minutes for the open. This is Google. Like I said, higher time frame. We are in an area of liquidity. We are in a higher time frame. We're going down. If I were expecting a big reversal, like a buy, I would not be buying for long term. I mean, for a swing trade or a position trade, I would not be going long down here because I want to see a big liquidity sweep down in this area. So what I'm looking at over here is the possibility of the continuation down. The only way I would go long over here is if it took out liquidity, put in another, maybe let's zoom in a bit, it's hard to see. So the only long I would see is if it comes in and puts in another kangaroo tail like this higher time frame 30-minute kangaroo tail over here. If it were to come and do that again, lower, maybe even take out whatever liquidity is below 274.37 here, then I might look at the possibility of going long, but it would be more for a day trade and not a position trade. 1 minute before the open. Good luck to those of you who trade the open. Meta's been going down, 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 bad news, et cetera, et cetera. On a lower time frame, this is a big move down. So, I mean, we might be pulling up a bit, but I would expect it, again, for an edge to work. You're thinking, you know, what's the likelihood? It's more than 50% likelihood that we pull up and then continue selling. Right, especially that there's this higher time frame area over here that's acting as a magnet. Again, not a prediction. I want to see what price is going to do this morning. It is above R3 over here. If it touches R4 and puts in a wick above and then we see selling, there's a possibility of a short here from R4 back down to S3 first target and S4 as a second target over here. So the market is open. So I will continue on my 30-minute time frame over here. Microsoft been going down, higher time frame area of liquidity where we are. So I'll be curious to see if we can reject this area up here. That's what I'd be looking for, rejecting as in a kangaroo tail wick to the top and then selling. Again, I'd be looking at the possibility of R4 to the CP as first target because it is the low of aftermarket Friday. And then from there, it could keep on selling. And we've got a higher area of liquidity or possible support down here at S6. $30-minute on Nvidia. Nvidia has an area of liquidity over here, higher time frame, been going down. If it were to wick up, for me, it has to wick up above the possible resistance over here or close to R4, right? But right now, we seem to be buying. Right, and this is a nice wick going down. There could be buying happening over here. I will look at it once the first 5-minute candle closes. From where price is right now, close to 169, close to 169.50, down to the below the wick is a $2 move. So as far as a stop is concerned, you'd have to be aiming for me for 3R. You'd have to be aiming for $6, right? So 175, so above R6. So as far as I'm concerned, for me, RVR is not there on Nvidia. Tesla on the 30-minute. And by the way, I do it on purpose to be talking during the first 5 minutes here. I don't even want to see I don't want to be tempted to do anything. I'm not interested in taking trades in the first 5 minutes, especially not on a Monday morning, because we have no idea who is in control. Buyers, sellers, we don't know. Tesla, lower time frame, it's in a lower range. Possibility of selling R4 is the likelihood of it selling, especially if we take out liquidity. And I'm going to put a line right here just because I do not have yesterday's high or Friday's high up here. If it were to wick up and then sell, I would like to sell below R4, but these are very narrow pivots. And when they're narrow, we can expect them to go beyond these Camarilla levels. So we could reject over here, and then we could be aiming for S6, right? Just because of the average ATR on Tesla. In short, it's been smaller lately. Qs. Going to finish this higher time frame. We've got this area up here, or down here, I should say. Right, we've got this area down here. We've got a lower range over here. If it were to spike up, take out the high up here, reject that R4, especially that we rejected up here on Friday. So that's the high of Friday. Let's put a level here. Right, so if it were to get to this line and reject, it could be a sell. However, it could break out above this, retest, and then possibly move up higher. But the higher time frame is selling. So this is what I'm looking at over here. If it were to take its time over here, this is something I would take on options. Because it is Qs and SPY, I would be looking at the rejection over here and the possible put options, aiming for S4, the CP first of all, central pivot, as in the low of aftermarket on Friday, and then S3, S4 possible. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to stop there. SPY is very similar to very similar price action to the Qs. I would like it to come up to this area over here. This is where we started selling off on Friday, right? We came down, retested, and then moved down. Now we're retesting this level again. If we were to make it up here, that would be a sell signal for me. If it rejects, if we see that the sellers are in control. But for something like that, I'm waiting for the first half hour. So that's what I've got for analysis. That's what's going through my brain when I'm looking at this, especially on Monday morning, looking at the daily time frame, then zooming into the 30. And after that, then I start looking at, I didn't set any alerts yet, but then I start looking at the 5-minute. And I want to see candle per candle what's going on. Right, we are above, I'm looking at AMD right here. We are above PDC. We're above a Friday low. We're putting in what looks to be a kangaroo tail type candle. This could be a signal for buy. Again, I'm not in a hurry, so I'm going to look at where Amazon is with the as it pertains to the Camarilla pivots. I don't like that it's there's 203 202.38 202.38 was the high. Here, let me bring it up. Right, I don't like this idea of taking a long over here because there's this big selling pressure over here. Right, so right here is 202.38.40. Around this area here is possible resistance. It was support over here, and then we broke underneath it, retested it, and came back down. So as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of resistance over here. So even though it might be putting in a KT, there's no room to the left below the KT, right? Price was just there. So it's not like we're going to pop up because the market is uncomfortable at that level. All right, so anybody has questions or comments or something you want me to look at? I'm also looking at the futures market. As far as my futures account, I think that I will only look at it after the first half hour, possibly after the first hour of trading, and after I've logged off of here. But I will be sharing in here what it is that I do in that Top Step account. Interesting level on Apple over here. Could be an area of support. This 247 over here, it is putting in a longish wick. If it were to close above 248 over here, it could be a buy signal. I don't like that PDC is right above it. Right, so let's see what happens. Let's see how the candle closes first. Right now, I don't see much else. Over here, SGML. What is SGML? SGML. Yeah, well.
It's a lithium play. I'd never heard of it before. It had some positive news catalyst. It went up like, I don't know, 14, 15% the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But that was kind of my wild card for the day, just to kind of check that one out. It's not a low float or anything, but
yeah.
Whenever I've seen a ticker that I've never traded before, I'm a bit apprehensive about it, but I'll check it out.
Yeah. Is it an IZ stock?
Yeah, NASDAQ. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, NASDAQ.
That's why I meant, sorry, no, I meant, is it an IZ stock, but it's NASDAQ. Okay. I asked if it was an IZ just because I've never heard of it before, and I don't usually trade an IZ. Yeah, interesting. My watch is going, what's this? Peloton up 7.9%. Peloton. I remember trading that during COVID. Peloton was doing amazingly during COVID. Everybody was working out. There was nothing else to do.
I can't find a strong news catalyst for Peloton.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, to be honest with you, I'm surprised they haven't been bought out by a larger company. I know there were rumors about that a while ago. You know, something like a Nike or something like that, wanting to start to get into hardware. But yeah, it's not a stock I trade anymore.
I remember back in the day. Yeah, same here. But it's too. Yeah, I don't trade stocks that are in that price range.
Yeah. Talking about oil over here. Let me just bring up. Oh, I've got all kinds of drawings on here. Yeah, we're approaching. Let me get rid of this and this and remove drawings. Then I'll share drawings. There we go. So there's oil here. That's on the 5-minute time frame now. There's the high here of Friday. We had gone higher than that a couple weeks ago when the conflict started. From where price is right now, there is room to the left. Right, as far as oil is concerned, room to the left up to, you know, I prefer if it went up to this level over here, the R3. So for me to take a trade on this, if it can take its time, I might do it with Top Step later. But I'd want it to get to an area of liquidity at R3 over here. Big dip down, retesting for the possible move higher. This is something I personally stay away from just because it is so news driven. Everything can move on news, but oil is something that everybody's expecting news. There could potentially be things happening that would make it just explode, pardon the pun.
I'm short gold. I was looking for a pullback. It's been going up in London session. Now we're retesting the top, but on the bigger time frame, on the 30 minutes, it might be putting a double top, rejecting this 46,000.
Yeah, the 4,600 over here.
Yeah.
Why isn't this coming up? Futures. Just set up on all my indicators. Oh, there it is. Trading sessions. Okay, so MGC, micro gold futures. There we go. Let's put it on the 5, and here's the trading sessions over here. So this is Asia low, Asia high, London high up here. Yeah, if you look at this does look like the formation of a double top. Right, first top, it did come from below, put in a top, retraced, and then right around here, a lot of people could have taken this as a double top and shorted here. Aggressive stop would have been above the wick and they would have been taken out here. So this is like a double, triple top over here. Entry on this candle over here. Short. Up there. Stop above the wick, actually above the high right here. aiming for 3R. Let's put it on there and let's see what happens here. And I'll take out the trading sessions because they just a lot of info there. You said you were short, right?
Yeah, I'm short 45.98.
45.98. Nice. Oh, pretty much where I've just put this level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to short it before that. It waked me out, and then I re-entered.
Yeah. Was it pretty much what I said about this this candle here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I shorted it later than that. I shorted it on the 906. Yeah, after the inverted hammer, I shorted
Okay,
that.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you have it depends on where you put your stop, right? If you're trading on the 5 minute and you put it right above the previous candle's wick, right? Then it's an aggressive stop, right? And
Because they tricked me in here. They started this candle 920. It looked like it bought back, and after that, the candle after that, it looked like it's going to start going up again. That's why I went out.
yeah.
The structure. No, I didn't respect my stops, but the structure. It seemed like the power was shifting.
Yeah. That's what I love about TradingView, and I love about this tool over here. It's fantastic for, I call it live testing instead of back testing. We're live testing it right now. This is the double top structure, right? It's in my trade book. This is absolutely my double top over here from here to here. I possibly would have taken it short over here. I would have zoomed into the 1 minute, right? At this point right here. Here, let's replay right at this candle over here. Actually, let's print the next candle. There you go. So that's the candle that I would have been looking at. Then I would zoom in to the 1 minute, and I'd like the short on a bearish candle printing. 1 minute bearish candle printing. There you go. That's the 1 minute bearish candle. I do not take a position there. If it breaks this low, 4,600.40. There you go. That would have been my entry there. Stop above this high or stop above this high. So aggressive would be above this candle right here. More conservative would be above the high day. So that's where I'm leaving it there. And then just so that it goes faster. There you go. So now we're back to live. So that's the position that I possibly would have taken. And we're just about to hit 3R over here. Right? That's one way, one of many ways to do it. I keep reading. There's so many things that so many people are talking about one RVR. I've never done that, but I'm actually thinking of testing it out, especially on futures and especially with a prop firm. So I'm possibly gonna test it out. Because it is incredible how many times in live testing that you put these drawings in and they get to 1.2, 1.5, and then they reverse. I mean, if you can get a 1-to-1 RVR with a 60, 65, 70% win rate, that's incredibly profitable. Like I said, I've never done it before. So anyway, hopefully you're approaching your targets there, Tarek.
Yeah, I took 2 off and I'm leaving a runner now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 45.50.
Yeah, let's look at structure over here. Right, we went up, making new highs over here. I mean, I'd be looking at this area. I mean, if we've come down here, I'd be looking at this level over here, right? This is where we started buying. That's obviously on the 5-minute time frame here, right? Started finding support here. So this seems to be a bit of an obvious target. The fact that it's on the 5-minute right now and it just printed another 5-minute fair value gap, right? That just shows that right now, as of right now, the sellers are in control, right? Again, not trading advice. I'm just
Yeah,
this is my thought process. I'd be looking at this, and then from here, what happens? Do we break through it and then retest and start making new lows? This is definitely an area of interest. 45.55. Okay, what do we got over here? Now that we're 20 minutes in, this KT candle here would have been interesting on Tesla. Again, difficult to put a stop on this. That's what I don't like about KTs, especially in the first 15, 20, 25 minutes, because the wicks can be very long. I like KTs when the wick is 2/3 of the candle, but the candle is shorter. Then you have a range to put a decent range to put a stop in. Right? Same thing with Nvidia here. That's a big wick candle over here. Didn't close near the top. It's bullish. This candle is bullish over here. Let's bring it up a little bit higher. This candle is bullish, but then there was selling, right? There was selling once it got to the top here. If it were to put in another wick over here, possibly even a little bit later as a double bottom, then I'd really be interested in it, especially if it closes above PDC over here. So let's see what happens in the next 8 to 10 minutes. I still have gold on my secondary screen here. I want to see what happens if it hits the 45.55. Doesn't mean it's going to happen right now. I want to put an alert here. 45, 55, 50. Or there. There we go. I'll get an alert if it hits that target. A lot of tickers were green in pre-market, and now we're seeing more red. Just chopping below here on Apple.
Yeah, I don't like wicks. Unless it's the bottom wick for a hammer.
Yeah.
Or inverted. But when I get the spinning top with wicks on top and on bottom, then I like to stay away.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the wicks because it is one of my most profitable strategies is the kangaroo tail reversal. But I don't like it when they're massive and early in the trading session because it's just so hard to I mean, for your strategy, let's look at Tesla over here. For the strategy to be proven wrong, it basically needs to go find a new low. Well, that's 362, and you got in at $1.50. It's not for Tesla. It can absolutely make it $4.50 away, which is what I would need for a 3-to-1. But do we have $4.50 between there and the high of day? We've got $4. Right. What I often do is put the stop a little bit beyond 50% of the candle. So 50% of the candle would be approximately here. I'm just eyeballing. So stop a little bit below. Considering that's 362.58, I put it below 50, maybe 48, 49. that would be the stop for the entry. And then, you know, your RVR is obviously closer. Definitely selling and closing that pre-market gap on Qs. I didn't talk about it in the session, but this is a likely possibility of closing this gap. Right, when we see a gap up over here, a lot of people took their profits from whoever was in long over here. They could be taking profits over here, bringing price down. I'd be curious to see what happens at PDC here. PDC, previous day close. DOS calls it PCL, or just previous close. AMD rejected the top, could be coming in, and right, if it moves below PDC over here, then very high likelihood that it goes and closes the gap from the low of Friday after market close. Right, this Friday low over here, 199.73. If it comes down below 202, below PDC, I would not short it right there because it could absolutely find support at PDC. But if it were to break down and retest below, then target would be the low of Friday.
Hey, Gilles, if you want to see a quick study on just a nasty chart with wicks, look at Nike NKE on the 5 minute.
Yeah, holy. Yeah, that almost, yeah, it looks like algo trading.
Yeah.
What's volume on NKE? Like I said, they have earnings later on this week. So this is, there's not a lot of action happening. 82%. It is a NYSE stock, eh? This the way that the NYSE trades as compared to everything else on NASDAQ, which is what I usually trade, it's a different animal. It's absolutely different. But as far as edge is concerned, right? Would it be possible to take a short right now? You know, there's a lot of people that trade like this. They'll short it right now. 50, and I'm not giving signals. I'm just saying that there's a likelihood that from 51.70, it's going to go back down to 51.40. Why? Well, it did it in this candle, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles now. Right? It is not my trading style. What's the spread is only 2 cents, but this is something that I use to explain what an edge is. An edge is just a higher likelihood that it could go back down, right? It's showing you a pattern, and it's at the top of the pattern, right? Is there a 51% chance that it's going to go back down to the, yeah, there is. Oh,
if you look at the pre-market, I'm sorry.
So I was just saying the MGC trade was just hitting the target that I was aiming for earlier. There it is. See, and it's breaking down. So Tarek, I hope you're still in there. Right, breaking down now. This level over here, traders are looking at this and they're going, oh crap, it's not holding up. Right? It could hold up. It could just wick down and then start buying from here. Who knows? But this was a higher time frame target. Now the next one, let's move it down. Right? The next one would be probably around this area. This is where we wicked, and this was resistance. But then once we came up above it, it was support and choppy support, and then above, and then it moved up. So what happens over here? Let's see. Now I'm going to put an alert below this level. Full disclosure, I did not take this trade. And honestly, depending on which account I'd be using, this would be the 3R and you're out. right? I know that a lot of people aim for way more than that, and depending on your trading style, that's fantastic. So anyway, sorry, what were you saying, Evo? You're
I forgot. Yeah, no worries.
sorry, man.
No, it's all good. Nothing
Yeah.
major. I'm just kind of watching it right now. Looks like INTC might have formed a bottom here, but you know, I'm hesitant to take any reversal unless I see, you know, the market turn around.
Yeah. See, we're making new highs on Nike. We're popping up above here, right? But can we go above high a day? I don't know. We'll see. If it does, I don't trade NYSE stocks, so I don't know how it's going to react over here. But it could reject. It could break out and possibly retest for the next move higher. You know, who knows what's going to happen. So anyway, taking it off my screen. Go back to Meta. Things seem to be really slow moving on. It's because I've got Nike on there. Let's take that off. There we go. That's what I like to see. No, Amazon, you're gonna give me a double top pattern, right? I don't like that it was chopping beside there for a while, right? It's not really a top because it was already there. It was chopping beside there. A top would be around here, right? So that's not a double top pattern the way that I like to see it. XLE inching upwards to test pre-market high. XLE. There you go. There's an ETF, oil ETF. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, Evo, XLE.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's a long-term investment for me. But,
Yeah. Yeah, anything oil related right now is so hard to call.
it is, man. But right now, I use a DeMark indicator, kind of a sequence indicator on my end, and right now that XLE is looking like we may trend down to the downside for a while.
Yeah.
On the hourly chart, yeah, my DeMark tell me that unless this breaks the next hour, we're probably gonna test maybe one of the simple moving averages, like around 62.38 on XLE. But yeah, it's really hard to tell, man, because it's so tied to geopolitics.
Yeah, and it just seems to be in a pretty tight range. It's a dollar range. I don't know what the ATR is on this. ATR, average true range. So basically the average of what it does. Usually the 14-day average is what a lot of people use, a 14-day ATR. It's an average of what it trades during a day. Just looking at the last day on Friday, 61 to 62. Yeah, about a buck.
About $1.25, I think.
$1.25. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I thought I saw some Bloomberg little tweet that they, and I don't know who else, they're thinking $200 barrel
Yeah.
price is actually possible. So
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna hang on to my XLE holdings for a while.
Anything's possible, right, Evo? It's especially with what's going on in that part of the world. Yeah, who knows? Nobody can predict what's going to happen with oil and with the Middle East.
The whole thing with oil, there's a curve. It's very well known in economics. It's price elasticity. The oil starts losing elasticity after $120 a barrel. So people start using less oil, like people will stop using their cars, governments will ask people to work from home. So it might go to 200, but again, I'll be very skeptical about it. Like after 120, from history, the prices, people don't like more than that.
Yeah.
They stop using their cars, heaters, everything.
People don't travel. People don't go on
Yeah.
cruises. People don't travel by air. Yeah, it's
very tricky.
Yeah.
When it comes to oil, you just need to keep your eyes open to the news and what's going on.
Yeah, oil is one of those things that it's not something that you can, as far as I'm concerned, it's not something you can just jump in and start trading it. I think it's absolutely a different animal. When you're looking at oil, when there is no conflict going on, I mean, this September, October, November, it's just chopping up and down. There's probably some nice moves in there, but then you've got these major moves over here, and they're probably based on news, based on something that's going on in the world. And it can be, I mean, this was a Venezuela. It could have been. I don't know when Venezuela happened, but right, it's so news driven. So this is a different animal. I know people that trade only oil, and they can be incredibly successful because they know how to trade this beast. So anyway, I do not yet. And I say yet because I am absolutely going hardcore back into futures, where I'm going to be eliminating this. I won't be eliminating it, especially if I have people that want to learn how I read the market. I like doing it with equities. But as far as my larger goals are going to be on futures. Let's put that back to Meta. And Meta is one of them. I should just take off my screen because I rarely trade it now. Sorry, somebody was going to say something?
Yeah, I think Fed Powell is going to speak at 10:30.
Oh, yeah?
It's showing on Forex Factory.
Yeah, let me, where am I?
But I'm not sure if his stock will be valuable now.
Well, does he have another, sorry, there's my accent coming out there. Does he have another meeting before his retirement?
Yes.
Somebody said yes, yeah.
Yes, one more.
One more, right? Yeah. So yeah, Fed Powell talking. He can absolutely move the market. So thanks for sharing that. And I didn't notice it is a three-star important news event, 10:30. So that'll be interesting to see. Was this a scheduled meeting? Hey, where is he speaking? What's on his mind? I'm very curious because Powell can absolutely move the markets.
He can sprinkle his magic dust, on the
Yeah, I love that.
There.
Yeah, I love that meme. I remember seeing that a couple years ago, and it was so accurate. Here, let me bring it up.
Yeah, I think someone memed that. They did a meme on top of that, and they put Trump's face on top of Powell's.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, sprinkling the dust, and the market just goes right down.
Here, I'll do it like this.
I kind of like what I'm seeing on INTC. May I share my screen?
Absolutely.
I'm not getting into anything.
Yeah. Here, let me just show this, just because
Go for it.
We were talking about that, just in case people don't know what it is we're talking about. That's Powell and sprinkling some dust here, and poof, 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 there goes the market. So, yeah, go ahead and share your screen.
That's good. I love that too.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Share window. Yeah, so this is INTC, 5-minute chart here on the left side, got a 15-minute chart on the right.
Can you
And,
give it a can you give it a few seconds, Evo? I don't know if it's the same with anybody else, but for me, it's incredibly blurry for the first little while.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let me know when it clears up.
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, awesome.
Better now. Yeah.
So we
thank you.
have INTC. We got the 5-minute chart right here, and this side is the 15-minute chart. I like to also move it out to about the hour. But this is what I like to see in my trade book, that we get a nice sell-off, and then we form a low of the day. And of course, I'm always looking at volume, so we get a little bit uptick in volume compared to the last 5-minute candle. We get a pop up. And ideally, what I want to see is I want to see a little bit more retracement come back. You know, 1 or 2 more candles where the size of the candle body is relatively small, and the distance between the close and the low is relatively small, that it can really load the boat with minimal risk. I don't know if we'll see how this thing plays out, but right now, like when I see this from my setup, it piqued my interest. I'm like, oh, I'm really going to kind of closely watch this the next couple of handlebars, and we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
that's just my setup.
Like you were saying last week, you're below the moving averages, but you're aiming for them. So you're not looking for the high day necessarily. You're looking for smaller move back to retracing to the EMAs or SMAs. I don't know which ones you use.
Yeah. This would be the VWAP in purple, then SMA 200, and the SMA 50. So ideally, if this pulls back enough, my first target could potentially be VWAP, and it needs to be 3-to-1. If it's not 3-to-1, I won't take the trade. But if I can get 3-to-1 plus, just partialing at VWAP, I'll take it. And then ideally, I'd like to take it to the either 200 or the 50, where it usually bounces. So we'll see. I don't know. But it is kind of, if you look at this, is the SPYU, that's a leveraged ETF. Actually, I think from Montreal, from the Bank of Montreal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it mirrors the SPY, and we got TQQQ here. We got kind of a little bit of a bounce forming. So I like to be in sync with the market. When a stock moves in sync with the market, then you got the wind at your back.
Yeah.
But I just got to wait for the setup to present itself. But it's possible.
Yeah. Do you also look at like Nvidia, AMD, different companies that are in the same markets when you trade something like INTC?
Yeah, I will. And if you look at AMD, actually pretty similar move.
Yeah.
I don't know if I thought I looked at Nvidia. I didn't see the same earlier, but actually, yeah, Nvidia's moving the same. So when you've got corollaries in the same sector that are moving very similar, actually, thank you for mentioning that, because now I'm going to change my other window to include those, so I can sort of be in sync with everything here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Just just asking if it's something I like having spying cues on my screen. If I am trading AMD, I've always got one eyeball on Nvidia, or vice versa. I don't find that Nvidia reacts as much to what happens in AMD, but the opposite is true many times. Like what happens with AMD can be influenced by what happens in Nvidia. So yeah, and if anybody's long over here, be careful, because it was selling, but now it's coming back, and we are approaching the 50% to 61% area. Right, so the move was selling. We're retracing to this area. So and that's same thing in SPY, same thing in Qs. Right, we could just be retracing to find more sellers for the following move down. Right, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. What Nvidia?
Ideally, I'd like to see a bit of a pullback. Then you're really kind of talking a bit of a bull flag setup, where you get the pull formation, and then you get a little bit of a pullback. But then I'm looking for the volume to tell me who's in control. Are the sellers still in control? They're going to take it back down to low a day, or are they kind of drying up? and the buyers may step in. So that's kind of my key thing that I look for. Let's get a pole formation. Let's look at the volume, see if there's any anomalies. Small candle. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You still in your other trade, or you out?
I haven't taken a trade. I don't know if you were talking to me, but yeah, no, I haven't taken anything yet. I did was looking at gold earlier when Tarek was talking about it. There's the secondary target over here. Right, it came in, and I don't know when I added these, but right, this is where it started buying here at this level. These levels, that's how we eyeball them, right? And that's where it went and bought. Right, a little bit of a double bottom here. I do not consider it a double bottom because yes, it came from the top over here, but it was just trading sideways here, so it's not really a bottom. For it to be a bottom, for me, it needs to come from a higher area and then come in. This is just right. The market was here for quite a bit this morning, so it's basically sideways from this area. Yeah, this could be continuing down. So I've got an alert that hasn't been taken out yet, just below the wick over here. So if it makes a new low below here, then it could retest it and continue moving down. So if you had taken this double top over here, the short, it's, for me, it hasn't proven itself wrong. So, right, if I were short over here and I still had a position, I'd be keeping it in there. But yeah, no, I'm not in anything right now. I want to wait. What I was looking at was the possibility of the short and SPY, just because it was strong selling. Here, let me bring it up on here and draw the 50% retracement here. Okay, so on the 5 minute, let's put the fibs over here. Let's go from the high here. There's the fibs. We can go from where it really started selling over here. So from here to the low of where it started retracing. So it hasn't gone up to 50% yet. But if I were to put my fib at the high of day over here, it's still a little bit higher. But where we really started selling when the market, what I call the impulse move, the big red, I want to see a big red candle. And the first big red candle was the opening 5 minute. So that's where I start the fib. And I go down to where we started buying. Well, we started buying over here. So I've got this as a low. If it came and touched the 50% over here, this could be something that I would look at, because I had said in pre-market that in a lower range, we often sell from R3. However, we were above R3 this morning, so it doesn't work as well. Also, possibility is a double bottom. Right? I would have difficulty taking this double bottom because it hasn't closed the gap. Right? It hasn't come. I don't want to go long until we take out this liquidity over here. So I'm more interested in the short, but I'd like it to come and test the 50% retracement here. So that's what I'm looking at. Actually, how does it look in MES? Oh, too many drawings. Let's get rid of some stuff here. Let's do that. I was looking at something this morning. So oh, sorry, that was Friday. Let's go back. So MES, the impulse sell, where did we really start selling? Well, it was over here. This was just one massive wick over here. But we started selling there, and then we started buying over here. So on MES, what I'd be looking at a little bit later on is, do we come and retest this area? And then what happens in this area? So I need to see what happens at 64.42 and a quarter, approximately. Right? And then from there, that's something I might take on my top step. right? I might, if I see selling, I might take a short here. Let's say it happens a little bit later on. Let's put the short tool. Say I short here, and the stop would be above the previous 5-minute wick, and then I'd be looking at 3R. Well, you don't need a massive move. Or, I mean, in Top Step, I'm thinking about doing a combine, just a live test, what 1-to-1 would look like. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at right now. No trades for me yet. Monday, not in a hurry on Mondays. I don't know if anybody else took anything. I know Tarek was talking about gold earlier.
I took also the reversal on the NQ, but I'm out of it. I use for the reversals, I use the RSI. So when something, the RSI is at 20 or lower, and I wait for a higher change in structure on the 2 minutes. So I got in at 23, 332.
Long or short?
Long.
Long.
And I took it to 23, 371. It's a small scalp.
Yeah. Oh, there's my alert on gold, right? Went below the level now. Let's see. What does it do? Does it continue going down? Possibly.
I think it should flush to 44.26.
44.26, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
on the bigger time frames, on the 30 minutes, this is the range.
Yeah, that's the thing with gold futures. I mean, you've got these massive candles, so it seems like a very long range. Like I said, I haven't traded gold yet. That will change in the next week, probably, with my Top Step account.
Gold been a really good move over the last month or two.
Yep.
The moves have been very good.
Yep. I like the big strong move up, pull back to where? Right around this area here. Right? We can see these two wicks over here. That's where this pulled back here. Let's put a level here. Right around there. So we moved up, pull back to here. Then we were moving up again, pull back to where there was a consolidation over here, and then moving up. This was a crazy move. I don't know what this was, but that was a massive selling candle. Then moving up again, and now we're selling again. Right? So higher time frame. This is where I'd put a level, first level here, so 4,400. As far as the trade the sim trade that we're in right now, let's go back to the 5, where I put my next level here. Did it take up? Yeah, this could be, if it closes green, this and breaks the high, if I were short, I'd be getting out of it. And as far as going long, possibly. It's a big wick, difficult to put a decent stop in there. But I'm curious to see how this candle closes. It's got 1 minute to close.
I think it will close bullish. It needs to pull back to let people in, because the pullback that we got on gold, it was very shallow. Like the one I went out on earlier in the 45.57, this part. So it needs a proper pullback to the 50% retracement or something which is around the 45.75. And there's a level at 45.80.
For the continuation short, you mean?
Yeah, at least it needs to go up there and reject. From there, that will be another place I would look to short it at.
Yeah. All right, there in this area over here.
And that will be 50% fib retracement.
Yeah. There's a fib there. Right, this is where we started selling, so that's where you start the fib, where we started buying, and that we don't know yet. We'd have to see how this closes, but for now, this is the low of the range. The 50% would be right here, or right around this area, right? It's not exactly to the penny, but this range over here, very interesting range. So it could retrace there for the following move down. Interesting what's going on in gold. Don't know if the market's going to react as soon as Powell steps to the mic at 10:30.
But I think now people are more interested in the geopolitical situation. So
Yeah.
Paul, I'm not sure if he'll add a lot.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. When it comes to interest rates and interest rate decisions, I don't think it's going to move the market as much as what's going on geopolitically, like you said. And he's on his way out, right? So the influence that he's got is coming to an end. So his replacement, we'll see. We'll see how much of an impact he's got on the market.
Hey, Gilles, thanks very much again, and thank you all. I actually have an early work day today, so I've got to cut out in a few minutes, but keep it green and check in sometime tomorrow morning.
All right, perfect. Thanks for sharing, Evil. I appreciate your knowledge and your sharing. And
you're welcome. Take care. Take care, Tarek. You too.
And the same goes to you, Tarek, and everybody else asking questions or sharing in the chat. That's great. I enjoy the back and forth. So keep it coming. With 2 minutes left, I'm also going to be cutting out. I will start looking at my futures a little bit closer. Nothing really set up for me this morning as far as my setups are concerned. No KTs, no double tops and double bottoms are more difficult in the first hour. They usually set up right around now, but I didn't see anything set up. Except for that gold trade, that gold would have been a good double top. Hopefully, what I shared was explaining a little bit how I trade the double top. So, with 10:30 approaching, I'm going to be cutting out, and I'm not sure if Avi said if somebody's coming in later on. Better price action. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is coming on. However, the room is open. If anybody wants to continue their conversations, especially that the recording is stopping, I know that people start talking a little bit more. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day. Thanks for being in here.